arm! Give me back my arm! Ah! Welcome back to Creatures, Cowers, and Crafting. Today, guys, I have another really cool package. This comes from Old School Miniatures, probably one of the best miniature companies. I'm not just saying that because they sent me this box of goodies. I did pay for a few of these. I will be painting these and they will go up on their website once I'm done. I've been painting quite a few of them. If you're familiar with Wasteman the game, a lot of the miniatures are on that website. Highly recommend checking them out. Really great sculpts. As always, these are packaged very well. I might add, this box was very heavy and it came from overseas, the United Kingdom to be exact. First off, we have a gigantic boar, I believe. This guy will look really great. He is resin casted. And then, let's see what else we've got here. These guys are heavy. These are the Toagres, I think that they're called. And this is the Grim Shepherd. This guy just looks very weird. I drive around a small van and pick up kids, I don't know. And more Toagres, and I think we have some lesser demons in here. I'm gonna give my hand at painting some of these. And as always, before we paint anything, we're going to start with a wash. I use a soft bristle brush. I'm just putting in some detergent. When you're working with miniatures that are pewter, it's important to not skip this step because there is releasing agent that they use to get them out of the mold, and that can really play havoc when you go to put a primer or paint these. So we're just going to wash these up, give them a nice brushing down, and then we'll let them air dry. If you're in a hurry, you could probably use a hair dryer or something, but for me, I'm just going to kind of set them aside and enjoy my afternoon. So lately, I've been trying to up my basing game for miniatures. I thought I would try to make some swap bases. You'll notice that there's a hole here, and what I'll do is pin this guy because he is kind of heavy. I've also got some air dry modeling clay, and I'm going to make a stump. All I'm doing is just kind of adding some texture to it now. For the top, what I did is just kind of stretched it out. I glued this on with some super glue, and then I took a paintbrush and just kind of pushed it in the center to create that hole there. I will also probably use some mulch for like driftwood or bogwood, and I'll put that around. Here's the model once I've added a few of the bits. Notice I did use some corkboard, and I'm going to go over this with some Vallejo earth texture, maybe some modeling paste as well, just to give some different aggregate. To add this, I'm just kind of spreading it on. I do suggest that you use a modeling tool that I have. You can use an old brush, but it just goes on a little easier with a tool like this. And here we have our models pinned and on the base. We will give them a nice priming of black and then go over them with the white. That's the zenithal priming technique. Basically, we're just kind of mimicking where the light would be hitting, and we're ready for painting now. So for painting, I'm going to start with a thin coat of US dark green. And when I say thin, use an acrylic thinner or water. Just kind of apply this. If it's too light, you can always add a second coat. I'm also going to do a wet blend. I'm going to use this Elysian green and Skarsnik green to do the throat area. I may also add this to the elbows and the knees just to have a little color variation. So now I'm going to do a little bit of dry brushing. For this, I'm just going to use a regular transparent green. I'm going to wipe the excess off of my brush. And I'm just going to start hitting the top of this guy. And what we're doing is we're focusing where the sunlight would be hitting, so we can probably leave the lower extremities alone. Here we go. We're looking good already. Maybe put a little bit more here on the back. And what I'm also going to do is maybe add a little bit of yellow to this, just so that we have another variation in color. Put a little bit more on top. We'll grab the yellow and we'll mix the yellow with that green. Now I'm going to take a detail brush and I'm just going to go with a lighter color green, and I'm going to hit the raised areas, primarily these warts that are on the back. May hit the tail there, and we're going to work up to an even lighter color on this. So here in a second I'll show you my transition. So to tie everything together, I'm going to start using a green wash for this. Now, you don't have to be limited to using a green wash. You can use other washes. Maybe a blue would work good. I'm only targeting certain areas. Here I'm going over the warts. I may add a little bit to the crevices or the armpits. And once our wash is dried, we're going to go back and add some more highlights. Yes, we're adding additional highlights to the highlights that we did earlier, but this is just going to make things pop and look a little bit better. For the eyes, I'm just going to start with a white base. I'm going to put this on pretty thin, and then I'm just going to go over it using a yellow. Again, I want to thin this paint out as a nice thin coat. We don't want to glop it on there, because if we do, it's not going to look right. We'll do both eyes, and then we'll allow that to dry, and we'll move on to a black to add the pupil. To paint the eyes, I'm going to take a different approach. I'm just going to put a little bit of black on the tip of my brush, and I'm going to go kind of across. Let me just line this up so you guys can see it. It's always difficult to do eyes, and it's even more difficult to do it in the camera. So you see, I just kind of made a slit, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up and down, kind of making a cross. You guys bear with me, I got out of focus, so hang on, I'll focus in for you. Loving cameras now. So it should come out looking something like that. Now, if it comes a little blotted, that's fine. What we're going for is kind of this type of look. Now I'm going to take some burnt umber. I'm just going to go over the base, and I'm also going to do the wood for the maces. This is also a good point to add a tester dull coat to the miniature and the base. So a swamp base wouldn't be the same without swamp water. To do this, I'm going to use a 2-part epoxy resin. I'm going to add a few drops of green paint into my cup first, and then I'm just going to squeeze out a tiny bit of the resin into a cup as well. Now, pro tip, you can see that I have the miniature already on the base. If you want to do the pinning stage last, that would probably be preferable. You'll have less chance of getting this on your miniature. However, I've already done that, and if I get a little bit on him, he is a giant mutated frog. So be it. We're going to mix this using that stir stick, and then we're also going to start taking this and applying it into the recesses of the base. Now, gravity is your friend when you're putting this on. You only have about 5 minutes to work with it, so you need to work kind of fast. This will kind of settle into those nooks and crannies. If you have trouble, maybe have something that is smaller that you can kind of maneuver the water into the base. One other thing here, if it looks a little low, you can add more volume to it. Next up, we're going to add some Vallejo thick mud, especially around the water areas, and we're going to hit everything with a nice dry brush of tan and gray. To add a little bit more pop to this, I'm going to use some Nurgle Rot, especially around the mouth and the wart areas. And now to add our finishing touches. To do so, I'm just going to add some static grass. What I've done is put some glue down, and I'm going to sprinkle the grass over like so. One thing to note here, we want to make sure that the water effects are good and cured. If they're still sticky, that grass will stick to the water. We'll also take this opportunity to add tufts, flowers, rocks, anything that might make the base more appealing. One thing that I will add is a bunch of miniature frogs that I got from Michael's off the discount rack. These guys were about $1 a piece. The cool thing about them, they're already painted. All I've got to do is put a little bit of glue and place them on the base like so. We're also going to go around that base with a little bit of black paint just to finish them off. Once we're done, they should look something like this. And I will focus in for you guys. And there we go.
Out of the swamps the Toagres came. putrid smell permeated across the dry bank. Then came the croak. Started by one and echoed by many. Death would be a long, brutal affair if the adventurers could not escape the swamps.
Hey guys, that's a wrap for this week. If you enjoyed the video, maybe leave me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, always could use some more subscribers. More importantly, share this video with someone that might like this type of content. I'm going to have some more crafting videos, some more painting of miniatures, and some other reviews coming to you soon. Please stay tuned. We'll catch you later. Stay safe. Goodbye.